The galaxy was silent as the council of alien leaders gathered in the great crystal chamber, their eyes glowing with cold light. The humans had arrived, not as conquerors, not as warriors, but as weak creatures clinging to a blue world. One of the oldest leaders, with skin like liquid silver, laughed as he pointed toward the hologram of Earth. "Look at them," he said. "They call themselves soldiers, yet they can barely leave their own planet." On Earth, far below the alien council's view, humanity went about its daily life, unaware of the judgment being passed. Among the humans was Captain Elias Dre, a soldier of quiet strength, his uniform scratched and worn. His eyes followed the night sky, a strange feeling stirring inside him, a sense that the universe did not see humans as worthy, that they were nothing but a joke to stronger civilizations. Elias had heard stories of humans being laughed at before, but this was different. The alien alliance that controlled several star systems now openly mocked Earth, calling it a failed experiment. The soldiers around him whispered nervously, unsure if they should fight, hide, or simply accept their fate. Elias clenched his fists, feeling a fire ignite within him, a fire that told him humans were more than what the galaxy believed. Suddenly, a transmission arrived from the orbiting station. Its message was simple, cold, and mocking. "Earth's latest prototype of defense has failed again. Send your best soldiers for inspection, or risk losing what little pride you have left." Elias read the words and felt his jaw tighten. The council's laughter echoed in his mind, but he did not respond with anger. He responded with focus, preparing himself for the unknown trials that awaited. That night, the sky shimmered with strange colors as the first alien ships descended toward Earth. People ran and screamed, hiding wherever they could. Yet Elias stood firm, watching the ships land with calm determination. His mind was not on fear, but on a plan. Even if the aliens believed humans were weak, he would show them the truth. The aliens came in forms that seemed impossible, with long limbs and eyes that glowed like fire. Their voices were harsh, full of mockery and amusement. "Is this your greatest fighter?" One of them sneered, looking at Elias. Yet Elias did not flinch. He walked forward, every step measured, every breath controlled. Humans may be underestimated, but he carried the strength of his people in his heart. As the council observed from afar, they laughed even harder, thinking the human soldier would crumble. "This one will fail like all the others," they said. Their arrogance filled the chamber. But Elias did not hear their words. His focus was on what he could do, on surviving, on finding a way to turn this mockery into triumph. And then he saw her, a tiny alien figure trapped in a strange cage, her eyes wide with fear, but also with something else, curiosity, hope. Perhaps she was part of the mockery too, a gift, or a test. Elias did not know yet, but he felt a connection, something that told him that this small being might change everything. The laughter of the aliens faded into the background as Elias prepared for the challenges ahead. The galaxy might have mocked Earth, but he was not afraid. Not now, not ever, and deep inside, he knew this mission would not be just about survival. It would be the beginning of something greater, something that would show the universe the true strength of humanity. The next day, Elias stood at the edge of the launch platform, the alien ships hovering silently above. Their smooth metal bodies reflected the morning light, making them look even more threatening. The humans around him trembled, unsure if they were ready for what was coming. But Elias's eyes were steady, his mind focused on one thing, survival and discovery. A low hum filled the air as the ship's engines activated. The vessel was small but faster than anything humans had ever built. Its interior was sleek, cold, and filled with blinking lights and unknown symbols. Elias ran his hand over the control panel, feeling the power beneath his fingertips. He could sense the aliens' technology was advanced, but not perfect. There were patterns, weaknesses he could use. As the ship launched into the dark sky, Earth disappeared beneath them. A patchwork of cities, forests, and oceans faded into the distance. Elias felt a strange mix of fear and pride, fear of the unknown, but pride in his home. The journey through space was tense, with alarms occasionally blaring as the ship passed through strange energy fields. Elias adjusted the controls, maneuvering carefully, his training guiding him. Hours later, the alien world appeared on the horizon, a landscape unlike anything humans had imagined. Jagged mountains that seemed to float, rivers of silver flowing in impossible directions, and skies painted with green and violet hues. Elias pressed his hand against the viewport, amazed. But there was no time to admire the scenery. The mission was dangerous, and every second counted. The ship landed in a clearing surrounded by alien towers, tall structures that pulsed with an eerie light. Creatures scuttled across the ground, moving with speed and precision. Their many eyes watched the humans, calculating, waiting for a mistake. Elias checked his gear, the weight of his weapon a reminder of what was at stake. The aliens had underestimated humans, but he would not underestimate them. He stepped out onto the surface, each footfall echoing in the alien silence. The air was thick but breathable, a gift from the aliens or a test for humans. Shadows moved around him, and he felt the eyes of predators on every side. He moved carefully, using cover and the natural terrain to his advantage. His training kicked in, instincts guiding his every action. Then, among the rocks and glowing plants, Elias saw it. The tiny alien woman from the hologram, trapped in a floating cage. Her small body trembled, but her eyes burned with a strange courage. She was delicate, yes, but not weak. Elias's heart raced. He knew that freeing her could change everything. But it was also dangerous. The cage was guarded by alien drones, hovering silently, their energy weapons charged. Elias crouched behind a rock, studying their pattern, waiting for the perfect moment. One wrong move could alert them all. But patience was his ally. He noticed a rhythm in their movement, a small gap he could exploit. Using a sharp throw of his blade, he disabled one drone silently, the others reacting too late. His plan worked, and he moved closer to the cage, heart pounding, adrenaline sharp. As he reached the cage, the tiny alien woman looked at him, her eyes wide but curious. She did not speak, but her gaze said something important. Perhaps she understood that he was here to help. Perhaps she had been waiting for someone brave enough to try. Elias carefully unlocked the cage, the mechanism delicate but predictable, and the moment it opened, she stepped out, small and fragile, yet with a spark of strength that surprised him. Elias smiled slightly, knowing the mission had just begun. The danger was far from over, but now there was hope. The tiny alien woman would be his ally, and together, they might survive what no human had ever survived before. As the alien towers loomed and creatures prowled, Elias felt the first taste of victory, and the galaxy had no idea that Earth's soldier was about to change everything. The tiny alien woman stepped cautiously beside Elias, her small frame glowing faintly in the alien light. Her eyes were curious but wary, watching every movement he made. Elias spoke softly. "We are on the same side," he said, and she tilted her head, understanding more than words could say. Together, they moved through the strange landscape, careful to avoid the alien patrols that still roamed nearby. Her movements were quick and precise, almost too fast for the eye to follow. Elias realized she was stronger and smarter than she seemed. Even though she was tiny, she carried herself with a confidence that rivaled the largest alien warriors. As they walked, he learned her name, Lyra, and though she spoke a strange tongue, he understood enough from her gestures and expressions to know she trusted him. The path ahead was dangerous, filled with jagged cliffs, rivers of glowing liquid, and creatures that slithered silently in the shadows. Elias kept his weapon ready, but he relied on strategy rather than brute force. Every step was calculated, every movement deliberate. Humans may have been mocked, but he knew that cleverness could overcome power. Suddenly, a group of alien drones appeared, more numerous than before. Their energy weapons hummed, and their red eyes scanned for movement. Elias signaled to Lyra, and she leapt forward, small but fearless, using strange tools and energy bursts. She disabled 2 drones instantly, leaving the rest confused. Elias took the chance, moving silently behind cover and striking with precision. One by one, the remaining drones fell, and the path cleared. After the skirmish, Elias turned to Lyra, impressed by her skill. "You fight well," he said, and she gave a small nod, a hint of pride in her expression. He realized that the aliens had underestimated her just like they underestimated humans. Their bond began to grow, a connection formed in danger and mutual respect. They continued toward the alien stronghold, where Elias had been told the real tests awaited. The terrain grew even stranger, floating rocks and glowing vines creating a maze that seemed impossible to navigate. But Elias used his wits, noticing patterns in the alien technology and traps. Lyra followed his lead, her small size allowing her to move where he could not. They complemented each other perfectly. A combination of human ingenuity and alien skill. Finally, they reached a clearing where the alien council had stationed a patrol of elite soldiers. The aliens sneered at the human and the tiny woman, clearly mocking the idea that such a small figure could cause trouble. Elias raised his weapon, but he did not attack immediately. He watched, studied their formation, waiting for the perfect moment. Then, without warning, Lyra moved with lightning speed, disrupting their formation and creating chaos. Elias struck with precision, disabling the alien defenses and clearing the area. The council's plan had failed, and humans and their small ally had triumphed. For the first time, Elias felt a surge of pride, not just in himself, but in what humans could achieve when underestimated. As the dust settled, Lyra looked up at Elias, her eyes shining with trust and respect. He realized that the alien woman was not just a reward, she was proof that humans could inspire loyalty and courage even in the strangest of allies. The mission had been meant as punishment, as a test of weakness, but it had become a moment of victory, and a signal that the mockery of Earth might soon end. Elias stood tall, feeling the weight of his people's honor on his shoulders. The aliens had laughed, they had doubted, but he had shown that humans were not to be dismissed, and as Lyra whispered something in her soft, alien tongue, Elias knew this was only the beginning of their journey, a journey that would change not just their fates, but the galaxy's perception of Earth forever. The alien patrol had retreated, but Elias knew the danger was far from over. Every shadow seemed alive, every sound a warning. The tiny alien woman, Lyra, stayed close, her small hand brushing against his arm, a silent reminder that they were a team. They moved cautiously toward the towering stronghold where the alien council awaited. The landscape grew more hostile, with floating rocks that shifted without warning, rivers of glowing liquid that burned on contact, and strange creatures that watched from above. Elias's eyes scanned every detail, every movement, calculating the safest path. The aliens had expected humans to fail, but they did not know the patience and intelligence of Earth soldiers. Suddenly, alarms blared from the alien towers. Their bright red lights flashed across the sky, signaling that the council had discovered intruders. Elias crouched behind a jagged rock, watching as squads of alien warriors descended toward them. Lyra whispered something in her strange tongue, pointing to a narrow path that led behind the patrols. With silent coordination, they moved, Elias distracting the first wave with clever tricks, creating illusions with rocks and shadows, while Lyra darted among the enemies, disabling drones and guards with speed and precision. The aliens were confused, their formation broken. Elias smiled slightly, seeing that their plan was crumbling. But then a massive alien warrior appeared, towering over them, its armor glowing with lethal energy. It roared, a sound that shook the ground, and charged toward them. Elias knew he could not fight it head-on. He dodged, rolled, and used the terrain to his advantage, forcing the giant to stumble. Lyra leapt onto the creature, using her small size to strike at weak points. Every move she made was precise, exploiting openings the giant did not expect. The battle raged on, energy blasts lighting up the alien night. Elias and Lyra worked as one, their movements perfectly synchronized. The humans nearby watched in awe, seeing courage and cleverness in action. What the aliens had assumed was weakness had become strength, a strategy of brains over brawn, agility over size. Finally, the massive warrior fell, its energy core disabled by Lyra's quick thinking. The remaining alien soldiers, stunned and leaderless, hesitated, giving Elias the perfect opportunity. He raised his weapon and signaled to the humans, who had been hiding and observing. "Now!" he shouted, and they surged forward, overwhelming the confused aliens. In the chaos, Elias and Lyra moved toward the council's chamber. The alien leaders watched from above, their arrogance fading as they realized humans were not to be underestimated. One leader hissed, "Impossible, they are not like the others." Elias felt a small smile form, knowing that every step, every risk, had brought them closer to changing the galaxy's view of Earth. As they reached the council's chamber, Lyra whispered again, her voice soft but urgent, guiding Elias to a hidden entrance. Inside, they found the council unprepared, their defenses compromised. Elias raised his weapon, but instead of attacking immediately, he paused, looking at the tiny alien woman beside him. She nodded, and together they made a bold move, disabling the remaining traps and sending a clear message. Humans were not to be mocked. By the end of the encounter, the alien council was shocked, their plans ruined, their laughter and mockery replaced by tension and fear. Elias stood tall, breathing heavily, his armor scratched, his body tired, but his spirit unbroken. Lyra's small hand rested on his arm, a silent acknowledgement of their teamwork and victory. The mockery of Earth had begun to crumble, replaced by respect, suspicion, and curiosity. And as they prepared for what would come next, Elias knew that this was more than survival, more than a mission or a test. It was the beginning of a story the galaxy would never forget. A story of humans who refused to be mocked, and a tiny alien woman who chose to stand with them. The alien council had been defeated, their chambers in chaos. The humans and the tiny alien woman, Lyra, stood together at the center, breathing heavily, yet victorious. Elias looked around at the stunned alien leaders, their arrogance finally gone, replaced by fear and awe. The galaxy had mocked Earth, but now the mockery was over. Lyra stepped forward, her small hand raised, and for the first time, the council seemed to notice her strength. Despite her size, she had played a key role in their defeat, disabling traps, confusing the soldiers, and helping Elias win. The aliens had not expected a tiny being to change everything, yet she had. Elias turned to the humans who had joined him, their faces tired but proud. "We did it," he said quietly, and they nodded, understanding that this victory was bigger than any single mission. It was a message to the galaxy. Humans were clever, resourceful, and brave. Their small planet had been mocked, but Earth's soldiers had shown their true power. The council, humbled, finally spoke, their voices quiet and cautious. "Humans, you have surprised us," one leader admitted. "Perhaps we misjudged your kind." Elias stood tall, his gaze steady. He did not gloat, but he let the words sink in, knowing that respect had finally been earned. Then came the reward, the moment that had been promised but never truly believed. Lyra looked at Elias, her eyes bright and steady, and for the first time, she stepped forward willingly, choosing to ally herself with him. She was no longer a captive, no longer a test, but a companion, a symbol of human courage and honor. Elias extended his hand, and she took it, small but firm, a silent promise formed between them, a bond stronger than words could describe. Together, they had survived what no human had ever faced, and together, they would face whatever came next. The council watched in stunned silence, realizing that humans were not just survivors, they were leaders, allies, and worthy opponents. As they left the council chambers, Elias looked up at the stars, feeling a new pride swell in his chest. The galaxy had mocked Earth, yet here they were, stronger than ever, with Lyra by his side. He knew humanity's place in the universe was no longer a joke, it was a force to be respected, a power to be reckoned with. Back on Earth, news would eventually spread, though slowly, of the soldier who had faced impossible odds, the tiny alien woman who had become his ally, and the humans who had turned mockery into triumph. But Elias did not need recognition, not yet. The real reward was knowing that humans had proven themselves, that Earth had survived, and that they had earned a place among the stars. And as he prepared for future missions, Elias glanced at Lyra, who smiled faintly, her small hand resting on his arm. Together, they were ready for anything. The galaxy had learned a lesson it would never forget. Never mock Earth, never underestimate humans, and never doubt the courage of a soldier who fights with both heart and mind. In the quiet of the alien world, a new chapter began, not of fear, not of mockery, but of respect, hope, and unexpected alliances. Elias and Lyra moved forward, the first of many stories to come, and the galaxy would watch, listen, and learn that humans were not to be dismissed.